Hey, welcome everybody. This is our latest podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the herb garlic. It is a very versatile herb, and so let's get into it. Jennifer, how are you doing this week, Jennifer?
I am great. I'm excited to be talking about garlic today. Definitely go through a lot of garlic.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. I know most recently we went through the liver cleanse where we used a lot of garlic. I was a walking Italian restaurant.
Yes, that liver cleanse drink with the garlic is is a very interesting drink.
Yes.
So Jennifer, well, I mean, we went to the same school, went to the School of Natural Healing, and garlic was is on the 100 herb list because it's that important for it has a lot of medicinal properties. A lot of people, they go to the doctor and say they have high cholesterol or high blood pressure. Garlic can help with those. Of course, if you're talking to either Jennifer or I, if you have that, we definitely don't want you to change your diet. But garlic is very powerful on its own. So Jennifer, what are some of the ways you use garlic?
I use it medicinally for all sorts of things, but I also use it in a lot of foods too, just for the nutritional benefits as well. I like functional foods. I like to eat foods that are also healing and repairing and help us to prevent illnesses and things like that too. So garlic has these enzymes in it where when you crush it, the enzymes combine forming allicin, and that is where most of the medicinal benefits occur. Um, Garlic is also part of the allium family. It's very rich in sulfur, which is great for liver detoxification, which is why we have it in our liver cleansing drinks. It's wonderful, when it comes to being anti-cancer, antifungal, antimicrobial, and things like that, and for the heart and cholesterol as well. But I think that the biggest key is when you're using garlic, if you want to use it medicinally, you want it to be a functional food, is crushing it, letting it sit for at least 10 minutes so those enzymes combine, and then using it however you're going to use it. And it's better if it's raw versus cooked, which can be kind of strong. I know when we make like raw vegan dishes, I tend to prefer a garlic powder than raw garlic. Occasionally, I will put a small raw garlic clove in there, but for some things, depending on what it is, especially if it's something like nut based. But yeah, so we love garlic. I use garlic. Not I buy tons of garlic every week.
Yeah. It also, there's another name, they call it Russian penicillin because of it. It's got such a high infection fighting power. I think it was World War II. They ran out of antibiotics. I think it was the Russians, and for they would use antibiotics to treat war wounds. So they ran out of antibiotics, and so instead they started using garlic and moss. They would pack the wound with garlic, and they didn't have any infections whatsoever when they started doing that. And so,
Wow.
and it's a very cheap medicine. I mean, you can get it anywhere. It's very cheap. And I found a study for this podcast today, anti-cancer potential of homemade fresh garlic extract. And I make this in the kitchen. You just use vodka and garlic. And this is from PubMed. And they found that just as homemade extract it inhibits the growth of several different cancer cells, as well as cancer growth and breast cancer models. So it helps with multiple myeloma cells. And this is just something you're making in your kitchen, and it's simple. You need a blender, some garlic, and some 100 or I use 100 proof vodka, and that's
Wow.
exciting, because
Yes, it is. So how do you take a tincture like that?
I just take it with a little bit of water. It doesn't taste great, but it's not as strong as just like chewing a piece of raw garlic. So
Yeah.
just
So
just a little
medical
water.
disclaimer, this is for information only. We are only educators, and we're not telling anyone to take these, to not take these. We do not diagnose. We do not tell anyone to go off their medications. Please run any information through your medical provider. So if you had someone making or using garlic extract, would you have them take it to prevent cancer? Or if they come to you because they already have cancer, are there any differences on how you would have them take it?
I would recommend using it for both prevention and if you have cancer. Now, for prevention, I might do a dropper full 3 times a day. If I had cancer, I would probably do 10, maybe 10 dropperfuls a day, because one thing we learned at school, if you have cancer and you want to fight it naturally, you have to go all in. You have to like be aggressive, because cancer can be aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah. If
So
something's aggressive to you, you need to act back
yeah, we're
aggressively. Yeah. Yeah.
talking a lot of garlic and a lot of other things. But yeah, prevention, you don't have to have it. Use herbs preventively. You don't have to take as much. But if I had cancer, I would probably quadruple the dose at least.
Mhm. With a raw vegan diet and lots of
Oh,
juices.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. So we use it as penicillin as well. So I know at the School of Natural Healing, we would combine it with honey and cayenne, especially for like a strep throat formula. I use that whenever we think we're getting sick, we knock it out with that. We actually we'll crack the cloves, let them sit and swallow them like a pill. If we feel like we have like a cold or a flu or coming down with something. As a matter of fact, my husband will drive around with garlic in his truck, the bulbs, and take it throughout the day. If he's just not feeling good, but he works alone, and so he's not around people. If he feels like he's sick, but he always has like garlic bulbs in his truck. And someone borrowed his truck one day, and he went to get back in and went, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, I forgot I had the garlic in there." And he was like, "Oh, I liked it. It was like being in an Italian restaurant."
yeah.
So you
Some
just
people like the smell, some people don't.
yes, my stepdad hates it. He won't even go in a restaurant that smells like garlic. Something else we'll do is use garlic oil in the ears. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite things to do. I'll make garlic oil. If I don't even have time, like the earache is coming on fast, I will just heat up a little bit of oil, gently warm it, not heated oils. We don't want to ever heat oils. Gently warm the oil with the crushed garlic in it, and then use a dropper bottle to kind of suck up the garlic oil and put 3 drops in one ear, massage it into the lymph nodes, put some cotton in there, do the other ear. And even if only one ear hurts, we always do both ears, but that can usually knock it out like that. There are so many people I know who they get tubes in their child's ear when removing dairy and using garlic oil would be so easy. We were fortunate enough to have a fabulous pediatrician when my children were little. I think I've told you my 17-year-old, I don't think she's ever been on antibiotics. Unfortunately, my 23-year-old, he went to a different doctor. Like that doctor, I'd call and say something's wrong, and he'd call in a prescription without even seeing him. And so we switched doctors when he was like 4 or 5. So he was on a whole bunch of antibiotics the first several years of his life. But this other doctor, I mean, if we had an earache, he would say, go get some probiotics from the refrigerator section, powdered probiotics, and put garlic oil in the ears. And we loved him, and it's
Wow.
just, what are the chances of finding a doctor like that? He was fabulous. He was fabulous. We loved him. Unfortunately, he was one of the first ones to die when COVID hit, which was tragic, but he was wonderful. Yeah. So I
Sounds
don't know
like
if he
one of those
died of
old.
COVID or anything else. It might have just been coincidence.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
we loved him. And so that's been our miracle. So we always have garlic on hand. We always have good quality olive oil. And then also, like if I was really sick, I think I had, whether or not you believe in the coronavirus is real. That is a cold and flu. I think that I had the big one. Before it was actually here, we had been to Disney World in December. For Christmas and New Year's, we were at Disney World, packed. I mean, could hardly even move at Disney World. On the way back, I was sick. I had to lay down in the back seat. I couldn't even get up. I felt so sick. And then I was sick for a month. And I went to my doctor and she said, there's this strange virus going around, this horrible cough people can't shake. But I would put garlic oil in my ears, rub it in the lymph nodes, and put garlic oil on the bottoms of my feet. And I remember at the School of Natural Healing, they said, put that on the bottom feet and you can smell the garlic on the breath just from applying it onto the feet. It just immediately, because we have those nice big pores on the bottom of the feet, it circulates through the blood quickly. And so you can smell it on the breath. So you can even do that on children. You have small children, maybe they have once again, medical disclaimer, your child is sick, always go through your medical provider, but rub the garlic oil on the bottom of their feet. Don't put a garlic clove on those tender little feet because garlic is really hot and that can burn the flesh. If you put a cut garlic clove against their skin, you need some oil to protect their skin, but that's a great way to get some antimicrobials, antifungal, antiviral, antibacterial into their system. It's a blood cleanser.
Yeah, also stimulates the immune system. That's the thing you forget about garlic. But I have two quick stories about garlic. So one day my wife had a pocket of pus on her on her tonsils because she's having throat problems. She does the one we learned at the school, the honey, cayenne, and garlic. The next morning, the pus was already gone.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it works so fast. And I had a client, okay, he would get severe prostate infections. So he went to the doctor for the first one and they put him on a 30-day round of antibiotics. And the antibiotics were in the levaquin family, which are actually failed chemotherapy drugs. And he didn't know this. So at the end of 30 days, the guy starts having arrhythmias in his heart. And this man is a chiropractor and he has another buddy that's a chiropractor, and they put his buddy on the same kind of antibiotic and he got the same kind of trouble with his heart. These drugs are very highly toxic. The levaquin family, look those up. But so he comes to me because we know each other. He had another severe infection. It was so bad that when he was walking, it would hurt. It would hurt in his lower abdomen. So he asked me, I said, okay, well, I recommend 15 cloves of garlic a day. And then we did some other things too, but I saw him 3 days later and he said that very night he went home and did 15 cloves of garlic and pasta. And he said, while it was very hot, he said, I noticed after 15 minutes after eating it, I noticed immediate relief in my prostate. And within 3 days, he was having no more pain in his prostate. And his wife told me, of course, she couldn't believe it. He's like, the doctor gave him antibiotics the first time and it took him forever to work. And then you tell him to eat garlic and take some vitamin C and he's better in 3 days. I was like, yeah, I mean, that's why I try to tell people that's why I do what I do, because it's very effective. So those are my two stories. It's amazing.
I love it. And it's not marketed because who's going to make money off of garlic?
Nobody.
Nobody. Yes. You know? I think that we even learned that, I don't remember where the studies came from or anything, but they told us that studies, garlic is as effective as penicillin, but because it's not marketed, that's why we don't hear about it. But it is absolutely amazing. It is definitely something that we will always have on hand in our house.
Oh yeah. 3 cloves of raw garlic equals 1 serving of penicillin.
That's fabulous. Yes. Well, that's what, and like I said, we just crack them and let it sit for 10 minutes, peel it, crack it, peel it, let it sit so that the enzymes can build, and then we just swallow them. If it's too big, we just cut it in half and, swallow 2 of them.
There's a story from Dr. Schultz with garlic. There's an old lady. Well, she was an older woman that had an infection. She had this infection for 10 years and she goes to the doctors They give her antibiotics, but it never clears it up. And so finally the doctor's like, look, I don't know what else to do for you. But she heard Schultz talking like Jennifer and I talk, and she heard that garlic was a strong infection fighter. So this lady, she goes to the supermarket, buys garlic. She takes 40 cloves of garlic a day for 5 days, and the infection's gone. She goes back to the doctor. They can't find the infection in her body anymore. The garlic cleared the infection after 10 years of trying. The simple kitchen herb cleared it up.
It's amazing.
It is.
Yes. When cooking or making dressings, like I'll put some garlic in your salad dressings, things like that. But when you cook, do the same thing, still chop and let it rest, so that you can increase those enzymes. Like I said, most are going to be destroyed in the cooking process, but there's a chance that some are still there. I know that happens with cruciferous vegetables. If you add a little bit of raw to the fresh, for some reason that can help reactivate the enzymes. I don't know if it's the same thing with garlic, but it's definitely worth a shot. So maybe adding like some chives or raw green onions to your dish, because they're in the same family, that may help maybe with those enzymes.
It's interesting. I didn't know that.
Do you have anything else you would like to add to our talk on garlic?
Well, I mean, I recommend everybody to keep it in their house.
Yes.
And well, I mean, okay, we definitely have to touch this problem because if you're going to use it medicinally, you're going to smell. And
Yeah.
so I don't know of any good way to mask the odor, but just, get over it. If your friends say, oh my God, you smell like garlic, say, whatever. I'm trying to, I'm on a health program right now, but other than that, I mean, some people like the smell. So
Yeah.
other than that, I don't know. It's definitely worth the smell because of the healing properties and that you can benefit from. So
Yes. I and I'm I told you my husband says I smell like a walking Italian restaurant. Yes. And so when I'm around people, and I'm always like trying to back away, not breathe on them or stand too close, I have the garlic in the ears, and I might still be off gassing there, right?
Yeah. Well, I have
Yes.
heard that tomatoes and blending tomatoes with lemon juice can help with the smell. I don't know if it works. I don't know. But I I used to work out at my buddy's house. He had a basement gym, and I was doing a garlic experiment, and he comes home one day, he goes, "My God, my whole house smells like garlic." I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry." He was mad at me. I'm like, "Well, because when you sweat, it comes out in your sweat."
Yes.
But just
And
be aware.
you get used to it. So like you don't know you're
Oh yeah.
smelling anymore. And then someone says something that's like, oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah. But that's only precaution. So, you know.
yes. Yeah. And we have to add the little disclaimer that there's no one size fits all.
No.
And there are some people do have some issues with in their genes with sulfur. And so, go slow. Don't, if you're sick, don't immediately take 15 bulbs of garlic. Gradually increase your garlic to see how you do. Don't take 15 in one sitting. Take it, see how you do, take a little bit more. But you do have to remember that sometimes we feel worse before we get better. And like when
Mm.
people go through a detox, those first 3 days can actually be really bad. And then day 4, they feel amazing. It's just we have to get those toxins out of the body too. So it's kind of hard to tell. Work with someone who knows about herbs and using these things in a medicinal way. And once again, run things through your doctor.
Yeah, I told my client, I said, take 1 or 2 clothes at a time. But you know how clients listen, he goes home and does 15. I'm like, why'd you do 15? Well, I just wanted to get out of the way. I was like, all right, then he got, well, I told you not to.
Yes.
But you know
Yes.
how it goes.
Yeah. So if you use garlic regularly, let us know what you do. If you have some tips for the garlic smell, we want to know that as well.
Yes.
but share recipes, share methods that have worked for you. We love to hear from you. Any comments you have, we want to know. Thank you for listening, and join us again next time.